Chapter 7. Fatigue. The best pharmacy is within you. Nature itself is the best physician. Hippocrates. My wife only sleeps after she had a stroke. Why am I so tired all the time? I don't feel like doing anything. These comments and desperate questions reach us frequently from stroke survivors and their families. The overwhelming fatigue that follows a stroke can be more debilitating than the visible physical symptoms themselves, creating an invisible burden that affects daily life in profound ways. The numbers tell a sobering story. Recent comprehensive meta-analyses reveal that post-stroke fatigue affects approximately 50% of stroke survivors, with prevalence rates ranging from 25% to 85%, depending on the assessment method and timing. 1. What makes this particularly challenging is that this isn't just the expected tiredness from working harder to move around, though that certainly contributes. This is a complex, multi-layered energy crisis that extends far beyond the initial brain injury. However, this chapter will reveal something. Maybe your body already possesses powerful tools to combat this fatigue, at least suppress it. The title, "The Best Pharmacy is Within You," isn't just inspirational rhetoric. It's cutting-edge neuroscience and our emerging understanding of how we can harness the body's innate healing mechanisms. The cellular energy crisis. Understanding the root causes. To understand how to address post-stroke fatigue, we need to understand what is actually happening at the cellular level. Let me take you on a journey into your cellular powerhouses, the mitochondria, and show you exactly how stroke creates an energy crisis that extends throughout your entire body. Mitochondria, your cellular power plants. Mitochondria are often referred to as the powerhouses of the cell, and this description accurately captures their primary function. These remarkable organelles produce adenosine triphosphate, ATP, which serves as the primary energy currency for every cell in your body. Each cell contains hundreds to thousands of mitochondria, with energy-demanding tissues, such as the brain and muscles, containing the highest concentrations. 2. Dr. Ava Detloff's research at the University of Pennsylvania has shown that mitochondrial dysfunction following stroke is far more extensive than previously understood. The brain, despite representing only 2% of body weight, consumes approximately 20% of the body's total energy production. 4. When stroke damages brain tissue, it doesn't just affect the immediate area. It triggers a cascade of metabolic dysfunction that can affect mitochondria throughout the body, creating what researchers now call a systemic energy crisis. The inflammatory cascade. Following a stroke, your body initiates an inflammatory response designed to protect and heal damaged tissue. This response involves your immune system's most sophisticated defenders, but it can become a double-edged sword that perpetuates the very problems it's trying to solve. Dr. Marco Prince's research at the University of Freiburg has revealed how pro-inflammatory cytokines, including tumor necrosis factor alpha, TNF-alpha, interleukin-1 beta, IL-1 beta, and interleukin-6, IL-6, flood the system after stroke and cause direct mitochondrial injury, severely impairing their ability to produce ATP.5. Recent longitudinal studies have shown that high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, hsCRP, levels in the acute phase of stroke correlate positively with fatigue scores at 6 months, with elevated hsCRP associated with a significantly increased risk of post-stroke fatigue, adjusted, or 3.435, 95% CI, 2.22 to 5.31. This demonstrates how early inflammation can predict long-term fatigue outcomes, knowledge that opens the door to early intervention. Dr. Bruce McEwen's pioneering work on allostatic load at Rockefeller University helps explain what happens next. 7. These cytokines disrupt the electron transport chain within mitochondria, leading to decreased ATP production and increased production of reactive oxygen species, ROS. This creates a vicious cycle where damaged mitochondria produce more inflammatory signals, leading to further mitochondrial dysfunction, a phenomenon researchers call the cytokine storm. 8. The persistence problem, when acute becomes chronic. In many stroke survivors, the inflammatory response that should be temporary becomes chronic, lasting weeks to months after the initial event. Dr. Rajesh Khanna's research utilizing positron emission tomography, PET, imaging, has revealed that microglial activation, a marker of brain inflammation, can persist for years after a stroke, potentially explaining the long-term nature of post-stroke fatigue. 9. The blood-brain barrier, which usually protects the brain from peripheral inflammation, becomes compromised after stroke. Dr. Berislav Zlokovich's research at USC has demonstrated how this process enables inflammatory molecules to continuously enter brain tissue. 10. Resulting in a state of persistent neuroinflammation that not only affects energy production, but also impairs the brain's ability to regulate sleep, mood, and cognitive function. But here's where the story takes a hopeful turn, and where your internal pharmacy comes into play. Your internal pharmacy, the science of hormesis, the emerging science of hormesis, beneficial stress that strengthens rather than weakens, provides us with practical tools to activate your body's healing pathways. Dr. Mark Mattson's research at Johns Hopkins has demonstrated that controlled, intermittent stressors can trigger adaptive responses that enhance our resilience and energy levels. 11. The key insight is that your body possesses sophisticated self-healing mechanisms that, when properly activated, can address inflammation, boost energy production, and enhance resilience. Let me show you exactly how to access this internal pharmacy. The master regulators, cortisol and epinephrine. Cortisol and epinephrine aren't just stress hormones. They're sophisticated chemical messengers that orchestrate your body's response to challenges and help maintain homeostasis. Dr. Bruce McEwen's decades of research have shown that these hormones, when properly regulated, are essential for energy and recovery. 12. Cortisol, the metabolic conductor. Energy regulation. Cortisol helps regulate metabolism and maintains steady blood sugar levels, providing your body with consistent energy. It activates gluconeogenesis, the process of generating glucose from non-carbohydrate sources, ensuring your brain and muscles have adequate fuel. For stroke survivors, whose brains require enormous energy for healing and neuroplasticity, this process is critical. 13. Immune system modulation. Dr. Robert Sapolsky's research at Stanford has shown that cortisol has sophisticated immune-modulating effects. It can suppress excessive inflammation while maintaining necessary immune responses. This dual action explains why it's often used medically to treat conditions involving excessive inflammation. However, the timing matters enormously. Acute elevations enhance immune function, while chronic elevation suppresses it. Epinephrine, the rapid response system. Energy and alertness. Epinephrine triggers the acute stress response, also known as the fight or flight response. It increases heart rate, enhances blood flow to muscles, and boosts energy production by raising blood sugar levels. In the brain, norepinephrine enhances alertness, attention, and memory consolidation. Exactly what stroke survivors need for optimal recovery. 15. Dr. Amy Arnsten's research at Yale has shown that optimal levels of norepinephrine in the prefrontal cortex enhance working memory and executive function. 16. At the same time, Dr. Gary Aston Jones's work demonstrates how this system regulates the sleep-wake cycle and overall alertness. 17. The revolutionary insight is that we can consciously influence these hormone systems through specific interventions, essentially programming our internal pharmacy to work more effectively. Cold exposure. Activating your stress response system. Dr. Susanna Soberg's research at the University of Copenhagen has revealed the precise mechanisms by which cold exposure transforms your stress response system. 18. When you expose yourself to cold water, thermoreceptors in your skin trigger sympathetic nervous system activation, resulting in controlled release of catecholamines, norepinephrine and epinephrine, along with endorphins. Dr. Andrew Huberman's research at Stanford shows that even approximately 20 seconds of cold water exposure triggers substantial release of epinephrine and norepinephrine, creating feelings of alertness and cognitive sharpness that can last for hours. 19. But the benefits go far deeper. The neuroscience of cross-adaptation. Cold water immersion represents one of the most accessible forms of hormetic stress. Dr. Rhonda Patrick's research demonstrates that when you expose yourself to cold, your body responds with a controlled stress response that, over time, makes you more resilient to all types of stress. This phenomenon, called cross-adaptation, means that handling cold stress improves your ability to manage other stressors, including the psychological stress that often accompanies stroke recovery. Dr. Ray Kronice's research has shown that regular cold exposure can increase mitochondrial biogenesis, growing new cellular powerhouses, while improving the efficiency of existing mitochondria. 21. For stroke survivors dealing with mitochondrial dysfunction, this represents a direct path to energy restoration. Heat therapy. Activating cellular defense systems. I go to the sauna every week, and the science behind this practice is compelling for stroke recovery. Dr. Jari Laukkanen's landmark research, which followed over 2,300 Finnish men for more than 20 years, revealed that regular sauna use, 4 to 7 times per week, reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease by up to 50% and may also lower the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. 22. The heat shock protein revolution. Heat shock proteins, HSPS, are your body's molecular repair crew. Dr. Richard Morimoto's research at Northwestern University has shown that exposing the body to sauna heat triggers the production of protective proteins through hormetic stress. 23. Protein repair and protection. HSPs act as molecular chaperones, helping to stabilize newly synthesized proteins and ensuring that damaged proteins are properly refolded. Dr. William Welch's research has shown that this is particularly crucial for neurological recovery, since stroke can cause widespread protein misfolding in brain cells. 24. Enhanced mitochondrial function. Dr. Pope Mosley's research demonstrates that heat exposure promotes mitochondrial biogenesis. 25. In controlled studies, participants showed a 28% increase in mitochondrial respiratory capacity after just 6 days of heat therapy. Specifically, HSP70 and HSP90 levels increased 45% and 38%, respectively. And these protective effects persisted for up to 48 hours after exposure. Immune system optimization. Dr. Dominique Chu's research shows that HSPs enhance immune response while preventing excessive inflammation. 26. Heat stress activates NRF2, which increases production of heme oxygenase 1, HO1, breaking down pro-oxidants into anti-inflammatory and antioxidant compounds. Cross-adaptation effects. Regular heat exposure trains your body to handle environmental stress more effectively. Dr. Santiago Lorenzo's research has shown that this cross-adaptation improves your ability to handle psychological stress as well. 27. Recent studies involving over 2,000 healthy, middle-aged adults showed that sauna therapy at least twice a week reduced the risk of dementia and Alzheimer's disease by up to 66%. 28. For stroke survivors, regular heat therapy could be a powerful tool for preventing secondary strokes and supporting long-term brain health. Light as medicine, circadian rhythm optimization. I drink my coffee outside every morning, even on cloudy days. This isn't just a pleasant ritual, it's a scientifically backed intervention based on research by circadian biology pioneers like Dr. Russell Foster at Oxford and Dr. Sachin Panda at the Salk Institute. 29. The stroke circadian connection. Dr. Aleksandar Milosavljevich's research has shown that stroke patients exhibit severely disrupted circadian rhythms, characterized by abnormal patterns in melatonin, cortisol, core body temperature, and rest activity cycles. This disruption occurs through both direct injury to brain structures involved in circadian regulation and the artificial environment of hospitalization. Morning light, programming your internal clock, cortisol optimization. Dr. Sonia Ancoli Israel's research demonstrates that cortisol levels typically peak in the morning and decrease throughout the day. 31. Exposure to natural light signals your body to produce cortisol appropriately, which aids in wakefulness, metabolism, and immune function. Studies show that morning, bright light exposure can increase the cortisol awakening response by up to 50%. Circadian entrainment. Dr. Jamie Zeitzer's research at Stanford reveals that morning sunlight plays a crucial role in regulating the circadian rhythm, with light exposure within the first hour of waking having the most significant impact on circadian entrainment. 32. Recent clinical trials in stroke patients demonstrate that naturalistic light exposure can elevate melatonin plasma levels and improve rhythmicity compared to standard indoor lighting. Neurochemical optimization. Dr. Gael van de Waal's research reveals that sunlight boosts serotonin production while suppressing inappropriate daytime melatonin. This is particularly beneficial for stroke survivors, who often struggle with mood regulation and sleep disturbances. Vitamin D synthesis. Dr. Michael Hollick's research at Boston University shows that sunlight is essential for vitamin D production. Vitamin D deficiency is widespread among stroke survivors and has been linked to increased fatigue and slower recovery. Morning sunlight exposure can help restore adequate levels of this critical nutrient. Direct alertness pathways. Dr. Samer Hattar's research identified light-sensitive ganglion cells in the retina that directly connect to the brain's alertness centers. This makes light exposure one of the most powerful tools for combating fatigue, a direct pathway from light to energy. Metabolic flexibility. Fasting as a recovery tool. To achieve increased sharpness and energy, I practice intermittent fasting. The science behind fasting's effects on energy and cognition is remarkable, with particular relevance for stroke recovery, given the metabolic dysfunction that often follows stroke. The neurochemical cascade of fasting. Dr. Mark Mattson's research at Johns Hopkins has revealed the precise mechanisms by which fasting enhances energy and cognition. 36. Catecholamine. Elevation. During fasting, your body releases higher levels of norepinephrine and epinephrine, which boost alertness, energy, and focus. Studies show that a 24-hour fast can increase norepinephrine levels by up to 117%. 37. Metabolic optimization. Dr. Gerald Shulman's research at Yale demonstrates that fasting improves insulin sensitivity, stabilizing blood sugar levels, and preventing energy crashes. 38. For stroke survivors, who often develop insulin resistance, this benefit is significant for sustained energy. Ketone production. Dr. Dominic D'Agostino's research indicates that prolonged fasting leads to ketosis, a state in which the body burns fat for fuel instead of glucose. 39. Ketones serve as a highly efficient energy source for the brain, up to 25% more efficient than glucose, potentially enhancing mental clarity and alertness. BDNF enhancement. Perhaps most remarkably, Dr. Mattson's research shows that fasting can elevate brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, levels by up to 200%. 40. Higher BDNF levels are associated with improved cognitive function, increased alertness, and enhanced neuroplasticity. Crucial for stroke recovery. Autophagy. Activation. Dr. Yoshinori Osumi's Nobel Prize-winning research on autophagy reveals how fasting triggers cellular cleanup processes that remove damaged proteins and organelles, including damaged mitochondria. 41. This process is crucial for brain health and may help restore cellular energy production after stroke. Anti-inflammatory effects. Dr. Walter Longo's research at USC shows that intermittent fasting reduces inflammatory markers, including the same cytokines that contribute to post-stroke fatigue. 42. This anti-inflammatory effect helps break the cycle of chronic inflammation that perpetuates fatigue. Implementation strategy. Building your pharmacy. The key to success lies in what Dr. B.J. Fogg calls tiny habits, small, consistent changes that build momentum over time. 43. It took me quite a while to master this way of living, but I've found it transformative. The graduated approach. Week 1 to 2, foundation. Start with 5 to 10 minutes of morning sunlight exposure. Begin with 30-second cold showers. Implement a 12-hour eating window. Finish dinner by 7 p.m. Eat breakfast at 7 a.m. Week 3 to 4, building. Extend morning light to 15 to 20 minutes. Increase cold exposure to 60 to 90 seconds. Try one 10-minute sauna session or hot bath weekly. Week 5 to 8, integration. Maintain consistent morning routine. Gradually extend cold exposure based on tolerance. Add second weekly heat exposure session. Consider extending fasting window if comfortable. Safety considerations for stroke survivors. Before implementing these interventions, stroke survivors should consider several essential safety factors. Cardiovascular clearance. Cold exposure and heat therapy can affect blood pressure and heart rate. Dr. Heikki Kirolainen's research highlights the importance of obtaining medical clearance before initiating temperature-based interventions. 44. Medication interactions. Some medications can affect your body's response to temperature changes or fasting. Always discuss these interventions with your healthcare provider. Gradual progression. The goal is beneficial stress that promotes adaptation, not overwhelming stress that causes harm. Listen to your body and progress slowly. Hydration. Monitoring Both heat and cold exposure can affect fluid balance. Maintain adequate hydration, especially during sauna sessions. The synergistic effect, your integrated pharmacy. The beauty of these interventions lies in their synergistic effects, as demonstrated by Dr. Patrick McKeown's research on multiple stressor adaptation. 45. Morning light exposure optimizes your circadian rhythm, making cold exposure more tolerable and effective. Intermittent fasting enhances the stress response from cold and heat therapy, while heat therapy supports the cellular recovery processes initiated by fasting. Together, they create a robust system for combating post-stroke fatigue and enhancing recovery. As Dr. Rhonda Patrick's research demonstrates, these interventions work through overlapping pathways: mitochondrial biogenesis, heat shock protein activation, circadian optimization, and inflammatory modulation, yielding compound benefits that exceed the sum of their individual effects. 46. The excellence principle. Excellence lies in cultivating small, consistent habits that lead to significant changes over time. Dr. James Clear's research on habit formation reveals that 1% improvements, compounded daily, can lead to remarkable transformations over time, spanning months and years. 47. Your internal pharmacy is sophisticated and always available. You just need to learn how to access it. The goal isn't to transform overnight, but to gradually build a lifestyle that supports your body's natural healing and energy-producing capabilities. While these evidence-based approaches provide a strong foundation, remember to pay attention to your body's responses and adjust accordingly. Your internal pharmacy is uniquely yours. Learn to listen to its signals and honor its wisdom. The pharmacy within you is always open. You just need to remember how to access it.